Mastering is not just about hitting frequency and loudness targets. If it was, then an algorithm could master music just as well as a human engineer. So what do audio engineers like me actually bring to the mastering process? What's the secret talent that humans can do that online mastering services can't? Let's talk about it. Mastering is so important, not because it makes a dramatic difference to the mix, but because the mastering engineer is the final pair of ears between the mix and the rest of the world. Before loading up an EQ or compressor, a great mastering engineer will listen to the mix with a critical ear and decide whether it's actually ready to be mastered. And keep in mind, mastering is not about fixing problems in the mix. You can make subtle adjustments in the mastering phase, but if you're hearing major frequency imbalances, editing issues, or other track-specific problems, mastering is not the place to fix that. But here's the secret. As a mastering engineer, you have the power to push back on the mix and fix problems in the mixing stage before you master. This is so important, both for mastering your own music and for working with clients. And this mindset really separates an amateur mastering engineer from a professional. Let me show you what I mean. All right, have a listen to this mix. To me, it sounds great, except that there's too much low end, and specifically the kick is too loud. And if we look at this on a meter, we can see that there's a lot of buildup at 40 Hertz. To solve this problem in the mastering stage, I would pull up an EQ and reduce the low end at 40 Hertz. So technically this makes the frequency spectrum more balanced, but this is a really aggressive move. And of course this cut also takes away low end from every other instrument in the song, not just the kick, which makes the mix sound too thin and weak. Instead, I'm just going to go back to the mix, turn down the kick by 6 dB, and then re-export it. Here's what that sounds like. It sounds a lot better, right? Have a listen to both one more time. When you hear huge imbalances like this, without going back and making changes in the mix, you're forced to make dramatic changes in the master to fix the problem, which ends up hurting the rest of the song. Instead, it's so much more effective and professional to reach out to the client and request a change in the mix, or just go back to the mix yourself if you have the session. So that was a pretty straightforward example. Let me show you one more. Have a listen to this mix.
People are staring, they know you've been broken, repeatedly reminded by the looks on their faces.
I like the overall volume balance and the vibe, but I'm also hearing some harshness around 2K. Let's isolate this part of the frequency spectrum. So to my ears, the harshness is mainly coming from the acoustic guitar. To get rid of harshness in the mastering stage, I would make a cut at 2K.
People are staring, they know you've been broken.
I think this definitely helps with the harshness, but again, this change is too aggressive. By making this cut in the mastering phase, we're taking away mid-range from the vocals and the cello when we don't need to be. So instead, I'm going to go back to the mix and make a 2 kHz cut on just the acoustic guitar. Here's what that sounds like.
Streets outside your window, over flooded. People staring, they know you've been broken.
The difference that I'm hearing is that for this song, when we take 2K away from the entire mix, we help with the harshness, but we also get a sound that's too hollow. Whereas if we go back to the mix and make a cut on just the acoustic guitar, we fix that harshness, but without sacrificing the fullness of the mix. Mastering is meant to be subtle and to enhance the mix. It's not meant to solve major problems. And so big problems are almost always better solved by going back to the mixing phase. So this is just about making sure the mix is at a good baseline level before you start mastering. Of course, online mastering services don't do this. As long as they have enough headroom, they'll master whatever you give them. and they'll never actually push back and request changes in the mix. And this is one of the main reasons why people work with human mastering engineers. When clients give me a mix, they know I'll only master it when it's ready to be mastered. And if there are problems, I'll tell them exactly what needs to be changed in the mix to get the best possible final master. So don't just master whatever clients give you. If you hear issues in the mix, tell them. Have the confidence to push back and fix mixing problems before you start mastering. As long as your feedback is clear and respectful, doing this builds so much trust with the client, and ultimately it proves to your client that you actually care about their music and are willing to work with them to get the best result. This is the secret that makes human mastering engineers so valuable. If you found this video interesting, definitely subscribe. I'm planning on making a lot more in the future. If you'd like your track mixed or mastered, or just want to talk about your music, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.